Hi, and welcome back to 3 and Out with Chris Spielman. I'm Mike O'Hara. We're brought to you again by the good people of Comerica. And Chris Spielman, obviously the game of the week last week on Thanksgiving Day, 41-25 loss to the Houston Texans. But the story of the week and probably the story of the season in Detroit here was on Saturday, Sheila Ford-Hamp, principal owner of the Detroit Lions, fired general manager Bob Quinn and head coach Matt Patricia. Probably no surprise. I think a lot of people were waiting for it. The question was just timing. Your bottom line thought about the whole thing. Quinn was here for 5 years as general manager. He hired Patricia. This was the midpoint of his third season. What do you make of it?
Well, the two things I dislike most is people losing their jobs in the NFL and players getting injured. Nobody wants to see that. And the other thing is we know that's probably inevitable at some point in your career. If you're around long enough, both those things will probably happen to you, either getting cut or waived or fired or getting injured if you're a player. But I think they made the point to Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia before the season that they have to be playing meaningful games in December and they have to be in the playoff hunt. And I think everybody understood the rules that they were under. And it's been frustrating. I think they had it going. I was really surprised at the performance down in Carolina where they got shut out. And, I think they scored 20 points the 9 previous games or 10 previous games, whatever it was. And just watching the game on Thanksgiving, it's just not there. It just is not there. And for whatever reason, it's not happening. And she stuck by her word.
Chris Spielman, flat out, your name has come up in the media as a possible candidate to be part of the search, and even some talk about you being the general manager of the Detroit Lions.
I don't know anything about that. I know this. Look, the Detroit Lions are a part of who I am. That's not a mystery. I've made no mistake about that. And my only goal for the Detroit Lions is that, they are able to get where they need to go. I have, as you know, Mike, you and I have talked about, I have great respect for the Ford family, not only how they treated me, but more importantly, as they treated my family and over the years. And so I just want nothing but success for them. And so, who knows? But I do think there's got to be a vision and everybody's got to be on the same page, from players to coaches to ownership. Everybody's got to be on that same page of what we want to do, and more importantly, of how we're going to do it. And that's got to be made clear, and everybody's got to be rowing in that direction.
We'll go through now, but just one last thing. People look at the one-loss record over time, and Sheila Hamp said, look, we can't hide from our past. We want to change it, and I agree with that. But is this considered a good job in the National Football League, working for the Detroit Lions, coaching for the Detroit Lions? And do you have a candidate?
It's one of 32 jobs in the National Football League, and I haven't given a lot of thought to any of this, Mike. But the one guy that I've always been impressed with is Dearborn native, and everybody knows who Robert Saleh is in Detroit. And when you look at Robert, comes basically, I think Pete Carroll would probably be Robert's biggest influence, but I mean, he's a positive, high energy guy, really bright, really smart. I think the players have a great amount of respect for him, and he has a great amount of respect for the players. So that's just the name because, of a couple of reasons. Roberts was a candidate for some jobs last year, and also with his ties to Michigan and Dearborn area in Detroit. I mean, I think he grew up a mile or two away from the facility there. So we'll see. And look, they have time. We are where we are, and you got to figure it out. And that's why I think they'll do their due diligence and make the best possible decision that they can for the organization. And, I know some fans are upset and all that, and that's fine. I think from this point, nobody wants to win more than the Ford family. Nobody. I mean, all owners want to win, but I think the Ford family is so heavily invested and they want it, and they want it bad, and they'll do the best job that they can to figure out how to get that done.
All right, Chris Spielman, we're going to go 3 and out with some plays from last week's, what proved to be the last game for Matt Patricia. Early in the first quarter, Detroit Lions have a 7-0 lead on a 1-yard touchdown run by Adrian Peterson and a chance to add to it, but it backfires on them on this intended screen pass that's intercepted and returned for a touchdown by J.J. Watt. Break it down. Tell us what you see.
Well, it's just a veteran move. Now, first of all, right here, you're going to see, is that Kabinda coming out at fullback? See that wide release? So that's telling J.J. Watt, because of the wide release and the back splitting, that's a pass. But he's also reading the quarterback's eyes. And this is just a great individual effort. I guess the only thing to prevent that, one of the things when you want to get rid of the ball in a hurry, one of the things offensive linemen are told to do, and I don't know what Matthew's reads are here, but if I'm Taylor, one of my options, in order if I'm going to go throw the ball in that area as the blitz pickup, I got to be able to get JJ's hands down. And one way to get a guy's hands down is you chop him down at the knees. And because instinctively, a defensive lineman, when he gets chopped at the knees, his hands go from here to here. The other thing Taylor, I think, could do, we'll have to ask Taylor this, is maybe get a little bit more physical on his set. You see right there, he kind of crosses his feet right there. That's a little bit of a problem because he's very vulnerable in that situation. But, Matthew can't throw pick sixes.
First of all, it amazes me that you see all those little things like the crossed feet, but I guess that's why you play football and I watch it for a living.
Yeah.
And Detroit Lions are driving again. Here's the second 1-yard touchdown run by Adrian Peterson. This is his specialty. Break it down, Chris Spielman. Tell us what you see.
Well, Adrian has that little freeze move, and he still, at his age, has the ability to burst through the hole. So let's give Taylor some props here. Number 68 is going to take his guy. Even though he doesn't have leverage, he's still strong enough to push him inside. And the key block is made by TJ Hawkinson. Just freeze it right there. The one thing TJ does, you guys hear me talk about this week in and week out, is that he creates two guys in one gap for the Texans defense. You have the defensive end and you have number 23. Because TJ is able to swing his rear end and his hips into that hole, he's cutting off that defensive lineman. And so that defensive lineman, by TJ doing his job of cutting him off, cuts off number 23 for the Texans. And it just gives Adrian Peterson on the short yardage goal line that little hole right there, just enough to burst through it. But Taylor and TJ do a great job. And here's the thing about getting good blocks in the NFL. They're not all going to be devastating, crushing, driving blocks. A lot of it is position. And his position right there, just getting his hips, cutting that guy off just enough and holding on and not get driven back into it. And then Adrian Peterson seeing that hole and then the great burst that he still has to get through that area. So well done.
Yeah, it makes it 14-13, the Lions lead. And that's the last time they'll lead as Houston goes on a 28-3 run. We've seen that way too many times when the other team gets on a run and the Lions can't stop him. Two of those touchdowns by Will Fuller. Break this one down, Chris Spielman. Tell us what you see. A 40-yard touchdown catch from Deshaun Watson, one of 4 touchdown passes by Watson. What a player.
This is a one high safety look playing man coverage, press bump down here. Safety's in the middle of the field. If I want to get slow him down, disrupt the timing of the route, I need to get 24 needs to get his hands on 15. You can't give him a free release outside. 1, you're not disrupting the route. 2, he's very fast. 3, your safety is not outside helping you like you get in a too deep look. Your safety is in the middle of the field, so you might want to jump to that outside, especially once he releases outside. But Fuller just kind of takes advantage of Amani in his back pedal, and he's in full speed where Amani hasn't transitioned to getting out of his back pedal quite yet, and you'll watch him start to pull away. And this is just the thing that Deshaun Watson's reading that safety and throws away from the safety, and the speed of Will Fuller is able to finish.
And that just about wraps it up. It ends up 41-25. Chris Spielman, now we look ahead to next week's game in Chicago against the Chicago Bears. The Lions have 5 games left in this season. I don't know what they have to play for in terms of their one-loss record, but if you're a player and you're a coach, what is your focus from now till the end of the season?
I think that it's incumbent upon everybody to play as a pro and still play for each other. That the rules don't change, Mike. You still play and you play to win. If that's not your mission, then you need to find something else to do. And I have all the respect in the world for Darrell Bevell. I know that he's a pro and he's going to work his rear end off to get this team in position to play and to win. And quite frankly, these guys got to play better. And sometimes when there's a major change made, sometimes that can rejuvenate a bunch. And I don't know if it will or not. Only time will tell, and we'll see that on Sunday.
Okay, well, next Sunday in Chicago, Detroit Lions at Chicago Bears kickoff at 1 o'clock. Chris Spielman will be back here next Monday to break it down again on 3 and Out.